Welcome back to another episode of Her Workplace Unfiltered. I'm excited to be back here today for another solo episode of this year. And I want to share that at the beginning of the year, I did a solo episode that was really all about building what lasts, about slowing down, choosing, and making decisions intentionally, and overall stepping out of the survival mode that I was in, dealing with postpartum. I was also just had a tough year last year of building and growing a company and getting it to scalability. And so I will say, after just a few weeks into the new year, I can feel something shifting already. And it's not in a loud way, but it's more steady. I feel really energized. I feel more grounded in my actions and my decisions. And so this year already feels really different for me. And it feels as though I'm finally aligned with the momentum that is coming. So I'm excited to share more about this in this episode today. And just overall, I'm more clear about what I'm building. I feel more confident. I am just more honest and authentic to myself and to others. And this isn't just professionally, but personally too. So I'm genuinely excited to just share more with you and more specifically share more about what's coming to Her Workplace, why just visibility in general matters so much more for women than it ever has. And for those of you that are listening, I'm going to be sharing more about what it really looks like to own your career growth, to invest in yourself, to build your confidence, to increase your visibility, both inside and outside of work, and just overall taking ownership of your next chapter of your career instead of waiting to feel ready for it. So if you've been feeling kind of that push or motivation inside yourself to do more, to make more of an impact, to step into a leadership role, to ask for a promotion this year, whatever it may be, I'm really glad that you're here today. So earlier this year, just going into the new year, it was such a season for me of getting grounded. And I spent a lot of time at the end of last year just reflecting, recalibrating, kind of figuring out what I wanted this next year to look like. And again, like I said, it's been a few weeks into the new year and I'm already feeling the momentum building. I'm feeling that expansion. And I will say there is this phase you kind of go through when you are reflecting on moments and past experiences. And then there's this other phase where you've finished reflecting and now it's time and it's ready for you to step forward again. And it's not a place that feels pressured. It's just more a place that is coming from clarity. And so that's the season that I'm in now. And I'm no longer interested in shrinking myself at all. I'm not interested in building quietly in the background anymore. I think last year was, I'd just had a baby. I was going through postpartum. I kind of felt like I hid away from the world a little bit. And I'm just ready to get back out there. And overall, like I want all of the work that I do of investing in companies, being a builder, building the companies that I'm building. I want to be more visible. I want Her Workplace, my main company, to be more visible. I want the women who support me and are in my network and are in the Her Workplace network and are in these other ecosystems of networks that I'm building. I want them to be visible. And I want the work that we all are doing and the work that I'm doing to really have an impact. So, like I said, I'm just really excited for this year. And I'm excited to kind of dig in further about what this really means for me, what this means for you listening. What's some of the advice that I would give to you if you're ready to start owning your career and your space and claiming the rooms that you're in? So, before we talk more about growth and momentum, I want to just acknowledge that what's happening in the workplace right now is just challenging. The landscape and the ecosystem is continuing to evolve. We've faced some roadblocks. The statistics of women not advancing in the workplace as quickly as they should be don't look strong. There's been layoffs, there's been restructures. AI is now in the mix. The return to office mandates have continued to change. Leadership pipelines are shrinking for women. Promotion paths and growing in your career just overall is less clear. And the things that I keep hearing from women, perhaps like yourself, kind of sounds like this. Like, I know I'm capable, but I don't feel seen. Or I'm doing the work, but I'm not moving forward. I'm not advancing. I'm tired of waiting for someone to finally notice me. I have so much to say, but nowhere to say it. And so I want to say to you that for so long, I was this woman of having these thoughts and feelings. And this year really does feel like a turning point and perhaps an evolution, not because women need to work harder in any way, but because we all just need to be more intentional about our positioning in the workplace, our networks, our visibility, the rooms we choose to be in, the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. Because moving forward, the women who will move forward the fastest aren't always the most talented people on paper. They're overall the most supported. They're the most connected. They're the most willing to show up in spaces where decisions actually get made. So, as much as you may feel like you want to wait around to get the promotion or to be visible or to be seen, this is the time to actually take ownership of your growth, take ownership of your career, take ownership of building your networks, take ownership of getting visibility, taking ownership of putting yourself in a position for a pay increase, for a promotion, because no one's going to build your career for you. So I can't emphasize that enough of how even more this year, that is so important for all women here who are listening. So I want to talk about something that I'm really excited about that really is a place where you can feel this momentum and shift and overall feel the power of women in general, just taking ownership of their growth. We at Her Workplace are hosting our first ever summit, and it's called the Elevate Her Summit. We actually are partnering with Nasdaq on the summit. We're doing it at their headquarters in New York City. And this summit is truly what represents everything that Her Workplace was truly built for. Like I said, I was that woman. I spent 15 years in corporate. I was ambitious. I was moving up the ladder. I was getting promoted, but I felt like there was a lack of support. I found it difficult to find resources, mentors. I needed career coaching. I needed to build my network. And there were no other resources or networks out there that were for women like me, women who were advancing into leadership roles. I was in a mid-level situation in my career, and there just weren't those resources for women like me. Overall, access, visibility, your network, and women physically being in rooms where real conversations can happen, that's what Her Workplace is all about. And that's what we're doing at this summit. We're bringing together over 300 women, in New York City ahead of International Women's Day. And it's an opportunity for women to build connections, to get support, to get guidance, to get the resources they need, to hear from executives and women leaders who have been there before. This event is not just about panels and programming. It's overall just about women walking into opportunities that they may have never pictured themselves in before and realizing overall that they do belong. And so this summit is really part of our bigger vision at her workplace of building this supportive infrastructure for women's career growth and overall helping to change the future of work for women. So I hope you will join us. You can find more information at herworkplace.com or on social media at Her Workplace. We are actively selling tickets. It's just going to be incredible. And another piece of this that's really exciting is every attendee will have the opportunity to have their headshot featured on Nasdaq's billboard in Times Square, which is just going to be awesome. It'll be the day of the event. And when I had to come up with, okay, what is it that we're going to have on the billboard? There was no better way but to feature the women who are part of her workplace and the women who are attending this event. Because in order to change the future of work for women, to help women grow in their careers, we have to all support one another. And so that's what really this billboard is going to symbolize, is women coming together to elevate and support and connect with each other. So really excited about that. Some other things that I'm just excited about for her workplace is doing more with our in-person experiences. And it's been so interesting because when I first started building her workplace, that's what the focus was, is having an in-person physical space, doing in-person events. And then there was kind of a period where it almost became oversaturated and all the big events came back. And people were more interested in that. And it's almost like things have swung back to there being such a need for more intimate in-person experiences. So we'll be doing more dinners. We'll be engaging our mentors in person more. We'll be providing opportunities for women to get access to leaders and to network with one another. Some other things that I'm just excited about, focusing more on career development, adding more programming that is live, that's virtual, that's in person, that's on demand, creating just in general easier access to leaders, to our coaches, to our mentors, adding more elements of technology in our platform to just make things easier to ensure that women are just getting connected to the right people and tools. And then lastly, just focusing more on building partnerships that are cohesive and that create real opportunity, and really engaging those partners that want to help and support and advance women. So there's just a lot to come. And I'm just excited about this year. It truly is going to be all about momentum. So one commitment that I've made to myself this year is to be more authentic. And I've really tried to show up more authentically on social media and on this podcast and in other ways, both virtually and in person. But I don't ever want to be a leader that is like pretending that they have everything figured out. I really striving to share more of the behind the scenes of building a company, of being a bootstrapped female founder, talking more about the challenges, the messy middle, not just all of the exciting things that we're doing and that we have coming. I just want to be more honest with all of you. And I want to create more space and opportunity for other women to be honest about themselves and to be authentic as well. And so I am excited to do more solo episodes on the podcast and kind of bring you along the journey of my life, both personally and professionally, and all the things that I'm doing, sharing but the behind the scenes, and to also share more authentic and real advice too. So I want to talk about something that has just been like weighing on me over the past few weeks. And I actually wrote a recent Substack on this about the waiting versus owning. And so, what do I mean by this? So, I spent 15 years in corporate and never thought I would ever become a startup founder. And so, I had this idea of building her workplace, but it took me 2 years to leave corporate to go do it. Now, why did it take me 2 years? Honestly, I was afraid. I was afraid of what people would think of me. I was afraid that I didn't have the knowledge and capability to go build a company. I didn't really know where to start. I didn't have the network of other founders and investors and people in the startup ecosystem that could really help and support me. And so I was afraid of building that. I was afraid of leaving a company and a career that I had spent 15 years of blood, sweat, and tears building and growing in, because it almost felt like I had to just close that book and move on. Like there was no going back. And it just felt so concrete to me to make this move. So it took me 2 years. Looking back at that experience, I was in this like waiting game. Like I was waiting to feel confident. I was waiting to one day wake up and say, I'm going to go do this. I was waiting for that moment. I was waiting to feel ready for it. And the truth is, career growth, specifically focusing on career, but also personal and professional growth in general, doesn't come from waiting. It comes from choosing yourself before everything is perfect and making decisions before everything feels right. So this year, I would encourage you to start taking ownership of your voice, your goals, your ambitions, opportunities. You don't have to wait. When I say take ownership of your career, I mean get started, get moving, take action, because you're not going to grow and learn unless you actually go out and do the thing. So I want to encourage more women just to start taking ownership. Stop waiting. You don't have to say become someone else to feel ready or to grow or to step in that next phase. It's all about just starting. And I would encourage you to just test things. And this isn't necessarily the conversation for the person that is, say, wanting to make a career move. This could be for someone who is looking to get promoted and they're waiting for their boss to come to them and say, I'm giving you a promotion. Taking ownership is gathering your evidence of why should I be promoted, and taking action and going to your boss and asking for it. So that's the difference between owning and waiting. And one thing that has really helped me, because, being a startup founder, you have to constantly be acting at all times. You are always moving, always evolving, always making different decisions, shifting things. And you can't be afraid because fear will hold you back. And so it is more of like a risky situation because you just have to act like you have it all together, even when sometimes you may not. But one thing that has really helped me is just testing things. Like, I don't know, for example, say that you are looking to make a career shift. Okay. You're working inside of a company and you don't really love the department you're in. You may be interested in another department or working at another company or, thinking about a different industry. You may just be wanting to make any sort of career move or shift. You don't have to make the move, right? You can learn and you can test. And a great way to do that, and I tell so many women this advice, go find the people that have the job that you're interested in. Reach out to them, ask questions, gather feedback, test, learn, spend that time just trying to understand okay, what is it like in this role or with this company or in this industry or in this function? What does that look like? How have other people developed career paths that have led to where they are? What were the moves they made? What steps did they take? And just gather information. I think knowledge is everything. And that's a great way to build your network first, build trust, build those real relationships that can help move your career forward, but also to gather information. Like you may think that you want to work in a certain function, but then you go meet a few people that work in that area and you realize, wait, I don't really know if that's for me. And so it's all about just getting out there and taking action in whatever way that means, gathering information, testing things out, seeing what fits, seeing what doesn't, and using that to help you make those bigger decisions. Using that information to help you make any career move. So that's just some advice that I would give for those of you that are just tired of waiting and you're ready to move forward and take action. So I want to kind of end with the things that I'm carrying forward this year. And I know I kind of shared this before of the things I'm letting go of, the things I'm carrying forward, and just want to emphasize that I'm excited to continue to just share more. I'm really, again, trying to show up more authentically. I want to share advice. I want to give as much support as I can because I have been through these really intense career situations and I've just learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about the things that have scared me, the things that have held me back. I've learned about the things that I'm good at and the things that I should lean more into. And so I'm excited to share more about that process with you this year. I'm also building multiple companies and just excited to take you along that journey with me. A lot of people think I'm just insane for having my hands and building and creating different things, but it's something that I really thrive off of doing different things. I've always been that way, and that's just something that gives me energy. And so, yes, I'm building her workplace. I'm also building another startup that it's continued to evolve. I actually thought I was going to launch it last year and kind of did more research and realized that it was all right in front of me of what I really wanted to build, where I want to go in my career. And, then I do some consulting on the side. I just couldn't let go of real estate. So I'm still very much involved in that and have some other things just coming with her workplace down the pipeline to just keep it growing and keep making such a big impact on women in general. So it's going to be a really big year. It's going to be a year of momentum. And so I would just again encourage you to think about the things that energize you. Think about the ways that you can take action. How can you develop your own momentum? How can you continue to take ownership over your professional and your personal life? What does that look like? For me, taking ownership of my own career, my own profession is building my network. It's getting out there. It's finding people that support me, building a really impactful team. It's doing those things that are going to keep me moving forward that no one else is going to do for me. So I would encourage you to think more about that for yourself and think of the ways in which that you can ensure that you are growing and you're moving forward, both personally and professionally. So thank you again so much for being here with me and just listening to this podcast. We have some amazing guests coming. And I just want to continue to share more stories of women at work and women across different industries and roles and stages in their careers. So just thank you for being here and excited to continue to see this community grow and to just hear more authentic voices. And like I said in the beginning, we're hosting our first summit in New York. It's on March 5th. 300 plus women in a room. It's going to be incredible. We have some really awesome speakers, executives, senior level leaders that are going to be sharing their advice. There will also be a wellness experience, a career coaching corner, other activations that will just allow for you to give yourself that time to make connections, to help yourself grow, and to just give you that space to be your authentic self around other amazing women. So I hope you will consider attending, and thank you so much for being here.